Now that you have imported your data, the next step will be to make adjustments to your forecast values. Dryrun allows you to sort your accounts into three different sections: cash in, cash out, and recurring. And of course, uh, another reason for this, other than knowing that some of your accounts have greater variability than others, is because you have the ability of choosing which auto forecast to select for each one of your sections. As we mentioned before, there are three different types of auto forecast types, and also the ability to manually forecast. Each one of your sections has the ability to have a different type of auto forecast selected for the entire section. If you wish to make changes to this, you can do so by clicking on the little section settings that you would find right beside the total for each one of your sections, and look at the auto forecast selection in the drop down and make the change there. What this will do is it will change the type of auto forecast for the entire section, meaning all of the accounts that are nested under that section. You can also do so by clicking on the little accounting software icon on the right-hand side of your screen, which will take you back to the import wizard. You can select the auto forecast tab and make the change to the section from here as well. Make sure you save at the end of that. That is the first way to make changes to your forecast on a section level. But now let's dig even a little deeper and look at making adjustments to your forecast on an account level. We'll look at our recurrent section so that you have a clearer view of all of our accounts. Now, the first way that you can make changes is, of course, to the type of auto forecast that you have, but not for the section. We're going to look at individual accounts. For example, over here, your office expenses. If we click on the office expenses, you will notice that this has been mapped to the most recent month. And if you click on the amount, one of the first options that you have is to adjust the type of auto forecast that you have for that account. If you click on the drop-down menu, you will see your other options. By selecting another type of auto forecast, you can also select time frames of whether you want to do this for this instance only, which is just the 1 month, or all subsequent months. Then you can go ahead and do so. By saving this, it will change the amount to map to a different type of auto forecast for the one account only. Now, the next way that you can make adjustments to the account is, of course, overriding the amount that you have. Say that you want to change the amounts that you have completely to something that is not created automatically by Dryrun's auto forecast. You can do so by clicking on the account the same way that we did before, clicking on the amount, but instead of changing the type of auto forecast, what we'll do is we will create a new custom forecast. We are overriding what we currently see. For this, what you will do is you can rename it. Essentially, we're creating a new forecast by completely overwriting what you see. You can go ahead and completely adjust the amount that you see. Now, another thing that you're able to do from here is also adjust the repeating schedule. Now, keep in mind that this also gives you the ability to create custom repeating schedules. Say, for example, if this happens every 45 days, or if this is something that happens every 5 weeks, something that is just not a very stable or standard repeating schedule, you do have the ability of doing so. But from here, we can go ahead and also give it an end date. And once again, if you select this instance in all future, it will change all of the subsequent months going forward. Now, the other way that you can do this is, of course, on a monthly basis or weekly basis if you're on a weekly view. Same way that we did before, we'll go ahead and select custom, change the amount that we see, but instead of this instance in all future, we will select this instance only, which will change it just for the 1 month or the 1 week. For reference, all instances of this item means that you would be changing forecast values in the past as well. So we save it, and you will see that the auto forecast has been overridden, but just for the 1 month only, and all of the subsequent months remain the same. Yet another way that you can make adjustments to your forecast is, of course, to add an additional forecast item to what you currently have here. Once again, this is an auto forecast. It is something that has been created for you as a baseline, and then you can go ahead and make any adjustments as necessary. And a few other examples that we have is if you want to make very specific adjustments or very specific additions to what you currently see here with the auto forecast. So for example, in the software, of course, you have the ability of overriding the amount to whatever you may want. but maybe you want to see a little bit more detail and you want to model an additional software that you will be additional, and my apologies, additional software that you will be adding. And perhaps this is something that you're purchasing, on an annual basis. So you can go ahead and select the repeating schedule when you're starting. And this would be an additional amount that will be added on top of the auto forecast that you have created. This just gives you greater visibility and just more flexibility as to how you can model a lot of these items in your forecast. But of course, this is working with Dryrun's auto forecast feature. Once again, the auto forecast is meant to create an automation and increase efficiency to the process that you would already do, say, in a spreadsheet. We're creating that baseline for you and giving you the flexibility and control to make adjustments as necessary. However, we definitely understand that sometimes you either see way too much information or perhaps not enough. A really quick example would be more on the revenue side, because everything that is automatically created in Dryrun is automatically sorted by chart of account, as you can see it. All of our forecasts and actuals are being brought that way or created that way. But perhaps this is not the way that you want to see a lot of this information. Perhaps you want to split it by revenue streams, maybe by product lines, maybe by projects, maybe by customer vendor. There are so many different ways that you can go ahead and make model a forecast in Dryrun. So of course, another option instead of using Dryrun's auto forecast feature is of course to manually create your own. Just as we did before with the auto forecast for the entire section, you certainly have the ability of turning off the auto forecast and then going ahead and building something manually from scratch, or even importing projections or a budget that you may have already built somewhere else, say in a spreadsheet. But when we're adding an item here in Dryrun directly, there's also tons of flexibility and control. Of course, we do have the ability of sorting it to the same chart of account as what we would have on an import. And the benefit of doing something like this, of sorting it to the chart of account, is that this is what gives you that visibility of forecasts versus actuals. You're tying two endpoints and being able to compare them and contrast them. However, as I mentioned before, perhaps you definitely want to see it in different ways. So you certainly have the ability of creating new accounts or even selecting some of the standard accounts that Dryrun gives you. By creating new accounts, what you are essentially doing is creating a grouping that you can model however you want, totally flexible, customizable. There is no limit to how you can use this particular feature. So let's say that we are creating an account and this will be project A. We can name it however you want. You can have several items following under the same account. So this is going to be just our sales number 1. You can tie it to any specific customer that is coming from your accounting software, or you can just have a general customer as well. If you just want to bulk, it's just a bulk modeling. You don't necessarily want to take it to that detail. Same thing. We can go ahead and create our amount. We also have units. So if you want to display it by the number of units as well, and you can select whatever repeating schedule you may want. Just to remind you, you also have the ability of doing this on a custom way, just by selecting very specific criteria for a custom repeating schedule. You can also give it an end date if this is something that only happens for a particular amount of time. So we go ahead and save, and that's just how easy it is to make an adjustment on an account level, or make an addition, adding an item here in Dryrun so that you can have your projections going forward. You can go ahead and continue to add items to the same grouping, to the same account, or you can go ahead and create other ones as well if you want to, say, add another project, project P, with different sales streams under that. Tons of flexibility, tons of control. And once you have that, you have gone ahead and made all of the adjustments that you need to your forecast. You want to make sure that you're comfortable and secure in what the numbers that you're seeing for your projections going forward. The next step is, of course, looking at your cash management options. APAR management in Dryrun is quite easy, and I will show that in the next video. Thank you.